right, welcome back to the Lost Treasure of Yamashita. This is episode 8, and we are jumping right back in with Megumi, Gwen, Samantha, and newcomer Jordan. Um, as we jump over to the... I guess we are in the map already. But when last we left, the party had made their way from the jungles of Luzon into Baguio, and from there met with the nurse Samantha and picked up the adventurer Jordan, and have decided to make their way to Manila, the main city, to find out who and where this grandpa is. And his name, for the record, because you would all have this from the notebook, is Cristiano Monten Navarro. And I'm probably butchering that, but anyways.
Somebody's music is coming back through the sound.
I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. So that's...
Sorry,
Cristiano Monten Navarro. I'll post that in the chat.
Navarro. Okay.
But he's referred to in the notes from Blackmore as just Grandpa, because he didn't want to write this the entire time. But that is, as far as Blackmore had gotten, is locating that he used to be in a village outside of Luzon, and as far as he could find from like trying to trace histories and stuff, that family had moved back to Manila in the more recent years. So that is kind of, I think it's probably... I don't know how long it took to get from Baguio to Manila, so I'll just let you choose if you want it to be morning or evening.
It was 10 hours.
I think you're going to drive overnight, right? Because that was your shift. So it'd be like daybreak, sunrise, beautiful view. The ride has become less bumpy as you're driving into the more settled regions. And you see this city before you that's much more city-like than Baguio was. This is a much more developed... higher quality city. There's actual roads here as you kind of get into the edge, paved streets, and kind of getting into town. What do you do?
Did we want to use my doctor contact to see if they know of anyone in the area? Or
Definitely. I think any resource we have is good. I bet I probably have some contacts in Manila also. There's got to be someone.
Phone book? I'm sorry.
Phone books are good too. But I bet you I have contacts who are pretty good at tracking people down.
I am so new, was a millennial generation that I forgot phone books were even a thing. So I'm gonna give Eric a stop point for that.
I mean, how good they are in the Philippines in the 70s is...
When I was a kid, they were pretty thick, but before that, they weren't overly large.
Well, this is a different country, almost third world. This is probably second world here, but still, that's a good idea. I didn't think of at all while prepping. I was thinking, what can you do to find him? But
do you
that's a good
remember
idea.
back when payphones had phone books attached inside of them? Does anybody... Yeah, okay. I think I'm probably the youngest person here.
Raising my hand, I'm just not visible.
Oh, yeah.
They've officially taken out the last payphone in the United States.
Does anyone speak Spanish? I'm assuming, being the Philippines...
I have Filipino and Tagalog, and Japanese, so we're fine.
Yeah, I also have the local languages.
In the capital, we should be fine.
Also, while we're here, does anyone need any envelopes?
Manila envelopes.
Manila. I get it.
I was doing it in my head all the way to
Don't give me a style point for that. That was cringe.
I'm tempted to take one away, but I do like jokes. And,
the rest of us get psychic damage.
Maintaining the make me laugh, I will give you a stat point because that was funny. Even though it was terrible, it was still funny. Okay.
It was the worst cringe.
So, Samantha, you do have medical liaisons here that kind of got you hooked in. It's through the Red Cross, so you could try to reach out there. Both Meg and Jordan, you have done recent dealings in Manila, so you have individual contacts that you could reach out for. If nobody has the resource contacts, then this would be a streetwise check, and I would give you bonus dice based off of circumstance as appropriate.
Try that. How many bonus dice?
2, and then you would need to tell me kind of what you're thinking that contact looks like. I'm not going to take creative license over that specifically. You both know kind of generally what conspired or transpired before you got mixed up in this.
Kind of run in my head like the first couple of contacts I throw out because they might want to shoot me.
Okay, that's kind of following along what I was thinking. Yep.
And I remember there was an antiques dealer that you know, Megumi, after the Singapore job, the one where I got the treasure and you didn't.
Yeah, that one that I let you have. Sure.
I had gone to.
I was thinking about calling him too, but if you're on that, I've got some other ideas.
Yeah, well, after that job, I took this thing to antiques dealer, someone who kind of knows about this stuff. I think if we're looking for a treasure, maybe that might fall into his realm of expertise.
As I was listening to you, I was thinking you guys might know more people than I, but it seems like the people that you know are much more back alley. And I really don't think Grandpa would be back alley, so I actually might think it might be a good idea.
Of course, use your contacts. I just happen to have some back alley, as you say, contacts who are very good at tracking people down. So
Samantha's thinking
to not split up. Not if we think that there's someone looking to do us harm, strengthen numbers and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to get a?
So if we want to go see Samantha's contact first, I think we can hold off on.
All right.
As she said, contacting back alley contacts. I'd be bored with that.
So go ahead, Gwen.
They tend to be easily paid off from. I'm just staring at you, Adam, your character. I'm just staring at your character right now.
Okay, and then I want to.
After I say they seem to be easily paid off for information.
All right, go ahead, Gwen.
We've been driving all night. Do we want to? I don't know how long I'm planning on staying here. Do we want to get at least a hotel room for one night, and then they would have a phone book?
It wouldn't hurt to have a base and a phone book and a phone. I'm down with that. And I could stand stretching out for a little bit.
Are satellite phones the only method of communication here?
No, there'd be local phones. Like people have cell phones. There's just no coverage out in the jungle.
I'll go ahead and roll survival. What would my bonus be for going to the hospital and
So that would be. Are you trying to use your connection basically and go like investigate? So that would be because you already have the. Well, what are you trying to find out? Let me figure that out.
I'm looking for the location of the Navarro family, where their land would be.
Okay, so go ahead and just make a straight investigation roll. I don't think the hospital is going to be, even if they are knowledgeable, they're probably not going to be super forthcoming with trying to like give out information of that kind. So you're kind of like trying to connect in with some people you know and ask for a favor. I'm not going to give any bonus dice for this specific connection.
We'll see what this rolls out to be. A 2.
Okay. So you have a contact. It's one of the not managers, but like one of the head clerks in the Red Cross who helped arrange for you to get out to Baguio. And she is pleasant, happy to hear from you, kind of some small chit chat, asking you how it's going, happy to hear that you're back in Manila, invites you out to grab a coffee over the next few days if you've got time. And then as you ask her a question about the family, trying to find out who or where the Navarro residences are, she doesn't know, but she's also not negative or trying to withhold anything. She just doesn't know, and she recommends you go to one of the Philippines, like not government offices. What would be? It's like where they do like head counts for the thing. What is that called?
Census.
This like the
Census.
Census Bureau and stuff, or maybe
Yeah.
one of the libraries, and try to get that information from there. Seeing if she will give you a name of a contact from somebody in charge over in the government building. So she gives you
Okay.
potentially a better lead to pursue.
Well, I tell the group I have a better lead, and at least my contact probably won't be informing anyone of what we're looking for. Not that I think they already know who we're looking for.
Do they?
We took the pages out of this journal before they saw it, so unless they managed to get
Oh, okay. Never
information
mind.
out
then.
of what's his name at the base camp, then I don't think they do.
Okay.
They might know we're looking for the grandpa, but I don't think. I think we're the only one who has his name.
What about the person you were waiting for?
I mean, that's kind of a wild card too, in terms of because he did know.
Okay.
So
Moving on. We all know that.
yeah. Depending on how that went down, But I think we can feel pretty confident that we're the ones that have the name.
Okay.
I'm giving you a style point for remembering the deceased character. So yeah. So what? Yeah. Go ahead.
Is it his name in the phone book?
Are you stopping off to get a place? Or
Either
just
that,
or just trying to find one?
Payphone, or why she's talking to. I mean, there's probably might be a payphone or something nearby the hospital.
Yeah, I think that doesn't even warrant a roll. I think, yeah, if you're going just straight for a public payphone, you can flip through and then just kind of sorting by names.
A better phone. It shouldn't be too hard to find.
Yeah,
Especially it there.
you probably would be able to find several. I'm sure that's a popular name, but for a city, yeah, we'll just see D6. Oh, wow.
I'm going to rip the page out of the phone book. That would be vandalism. But I have a camera.
I just ripped the page out of the
Yeah, you
Give me
find
that.
2 with the correct spelling, at least from the spelling that was deciphered from the journal. And I think phone books would provide addresses in this day and age too, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Or we could just call. Because, I mean, a phone book would be by a phone, and if there's 2 leads.
I was also thinking that if we end up going to see this man, probably not all of us should go in. I mean, I agree with you about not splitting the party, Jordan, but I think all of us could be a little bit overwhelming. And
Some people can stay in the car.
yeah, I was thinking that I might say that I'm writing a history of the area and the time period, hoping to do an interview and corroborate some things.
Then, if that's your thought, maybe it is best that I visit my contact. You're right. All of us together may spook him.
Yeah. But I could start with a phone call. And as you say, Samantha, we need to determine which one of these it is, if either of them is, the correct one. It would be deceased at this point.
Wait, do they both have the same name? The full name?
No,
Or is it just the first and last?
It is the last name.
Okay.
Neither of the names have Cristiano as the first name.
Oh, really?
It's
just okay.
It's Navarro, but it's a different name.
Okay.
Could be a son or a cousin or.
Yeah.
Do I have deception? I'm just looking.
It would be con if you have that.
Con. No wonder. Okay.
I think I got a decent
I do have it, and I should really raise that because I feel like it might come in handy with this group of people.
Is there a library here?
Um, can I?
If he's not in the phone book and he's a grandfather, he's
I was
maybe
thinking I would
dead.
call
If
and
we can find an obituary, it would tell who his descendants were, and then we could know if either of these Navarros is the one we need.
It's a good idea.
Okay. You want to try to find a library?
that is a better idea.
I mean, someone should, but my
Do I
investigation
know where the
is
library
not
is?
great.
Adrian, having probably been here for a little bit, do I know where the library is?
I would say roll streetwise, and you can have a +2.
If someone needs to be searching through library for finding a
I can give
obituary,
her a +2 assistance bonus if it's streetwise.
that sounds like my
I was worried it
department
might be
once we find it.
investigation.
I'm sure the address
No.
is in the phone book.
I think I know where the library is at.
I have diplomacy of, but I don't really have con. So if we're trying to be honest with him, that I should be helpful. But not if we're trying to lie to him.
I think I would call and ask.
I
if,
would rather not be truthful just for his own safety.
I was thinking of calling and asking if Cristiano Montino Navarro was there for his overdue appointment, but that's just the type of call.
I'm stealing that line just to use in real life. I'd rather not be truthful just for your own safety.
I will be able to logically get more information out of him if I stay on writing a book. Because if you're about the overdue appointment, they're going to be like, okay, either he's dead or no, what appointment are you talking about? Or okay, let's make the appointment click.
Oh, well, I was just thinking to confirm whether
To
or not
confirm?
that was
Oh,
right.
I see.
But if we need to, if sitting in
I mean,
the
if he's dead,
library,
they're probably going to give that reaction regardless, because...
Try not
Yes.
to overtalk, if possible.
but if we're going to go to the library, that sounds like my area of expertise. You can drop me off there, and I can look.
Well, let's just go for it. What are we gonna do?
Let's go to the library.
Okay.
Okay.
In the obituaries, I believe, and historical birthing records. They have those.
So, and you have the language, right? So you can go ahead and roll investigation.
Myself?
Yes.
I said I rolled streetwise for it. You said I could, and I rolled a 4
Oh, yeah, that was
I
to
think that was
find
to
it.
find
Yeah.
the library.
to find the library. Do I need to roll a separate languages to go on the right
No.
streets?
No, because you have
Okay.
the language, I thought.
Okay. Yeah, I do.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Do I need to roll again?
If you're in the library now, yeah, finding the
Oh, okay.
what you're looking for.
Linguistics. Do I get a bonus because of?
I'd say the linguist. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
I'm a researcher by nature. I mean, if she has the language and I know how to kind of find this information.
I'll just read out loud stuff I'm.
Okay. So yeah, you can take a +2 from Gwen, kind of helping you, and your language takes away the penalty because you can.
Meg is just sitting there like this.
Okay. That was linguistics, not intelligent. But whatever, it's fine.
Was it something else I'm rolling?
You're supposed to roll investigation.
Oh, okay.
With the +2.
Investigation. Okay.
Or
I
if
can do this as well.
Gwen has a higher investigation, then
I have a 5.
whoever has the higher one and
I'll just
can
roll
take a +2.
I got a 4, so.
Okay.
So yeah, you're able to find. You don't find any mortuaries, but you do find that who you're looking for, Cristiano Navarro, his son, who has an American or an English name, is Peter, has basically had taken over the property and is considered head of household, and he lives in Manila, over in a little bit near, we'll say, the racing club. I have no idea what Manila looks like in real life, but we'll say it's in this kind of vicinity.
Oh, there it's not bloody.
Yeah, it's a big map, so it might take a while to
It
load.
took a minute. Holy cow.
But he lives right over here.
Okay.
I did not see where you pinged. Let me zoom out.
Should
Oh, okay. I see.
We're pinging you. Ping.
I see it now.
Would we want to make our way there? And you can speak the language, correct? Okay, so I don't know if I'm particularly needed, but I'm willing to talk to him with you if you like. I can be your assistant and take notes for you.
I don't know that I ever had an assistant before. I like it.
So are you
Yeah.
are you all moving in that direction all together? Because over the couple, it might not even be that long specifically, but that's over the course of like the hour or 2 hours, whatever that you take to investigate, get place to place, and get this
Honestly,
information.
I want to call first. That would be a little bit more professional. That would play into what I'm trying to do here.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and call.
Okay. Yeah. So it rings a couple times. It's in the still kind of like morning, late morning, and you do get an answer, and it seems to be a feminine voice answering over the phone and in the local language, just asking who's calling and what can they do for you.
Okay, well, I greet them in the same language and I say, I am an American researcher here in Manila, and I was hoping to speak to either Cristiano Montan Navarro or his son Peter. I'm just writing a historical book, and I was hoping to interview Cristiano if possible.
Roll a diplomacy check.
Oh no, I don't want to.
Did she do deception?
Yeah.
I would allow deception, yes.
Can you do deception?
Okay, I would rather do that.
Style point, style point.
Yeah. Where? Okay, what is deception? Is that
It
going to
would
be
be
con?
con, yeah,
Con.
sorry, it'd be
Okay,
con.
yes. And I'm going to actually, pump 2 points into it just to be at my professional, you know, grad school best.
Okay.
Because back in the day, I did actually do some research. Okay, let's see how this goes. Come on.
Okay. So the conversation is short. You hear the lady kind of put the phone down and like start like shouting in the background. She seems to be shouting for Cristiano. And after a moment, she gets back on the phone and says he can't come to the phone. Peter's out for the day, but he'll be back in the evening.
Oh. Well, would I maybe be able to make an appointment to come talk to him? I would love to just take maybe half an hour of his time.
There's a pause, almost like more muted, asking questions to someone in the other room, and then she says, "Yes, that is fine."
Wonderful. And so I guess whatever time is convenient,
Yeah, they say
whatever that may be.
they say lunchtime, 12 o'clock,
Okay.
which is probably only an hour or 2 hours away.
Okay.
So.
All right. Delightful. Thank you so much.
Do I know if it's customary to bring a gift when you visit someone for the first time in this area?
It'd probably be a nice gesture. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
culturally,
I agree.
but
I think
yeah.
that's a very nice gesture.
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay. And
Fruit is a customary gift, I believe.
while this is happening, and even back at the library, Jordan, were you with the group too, hanging out, or were you wanting to go consult with other people?
I probably hung out with them at the library and then kind of left, and I did my streetwise check a while ago. I got a 5.
Okay.
I'll just go and kind of reach out to my own contact and see if he knows anything about the Yamashita treasure.
Okay. So going to your previous contact, this is probably kind of a Filipino thug, almost like a gang member type person who's involved with like the local syndicates. But
So
kind of,
this isn't the antiques dealer you had me pick
oh,
up
is it?
earlier.
Oh, is this the antique dealer? Or okay, then that would
That's what
be
I assumed because
if yeah, if it's that, I was thinking it was some from the other more cartel-y type people. If it's the antique dealer,
it can be if you say according to my streetwise check, I know one of those as well. I'll certainly visit him too.
so the antique dealer would know rumors and legends about the Yamashita treasure, kind of being from the area, that there's supposed to be a lot of gold and artifacts here, but surprisingly little, or if any, has ever been really brought to him to be like sold or purchased or valued. What a lot of stuff that has come into it is Japanese and other countries like arms and equipment and stuff from the war, but not a lot of treasure
So
has
the
come
treasure
through.
hasn't come up on the market. So what you're saying is it's still there.
If it exists.
And that's just Jordan's reaction, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's still there.
Now, I was going to say if you go to the other more
I'll
black-hearted.
go to the other guy next.
So he
The
greets
other,
you
more...
with a grin and a flash of gold teeth. It's a smile of a friend that is not actually your friend, but you're not enemies. And as you probably inquire about work or kind of what's going on in the underworld over here, he tells you that there's a bustle of activity in Manila. There's always different opposing like gangs that kind of vie for different controls of different markets and stuff, but right now everybody's on kind of alert because a bunch of Americans are in town, and they do not seem to. They're basically looking for which gang is the strongest to hire them to do stuff. And so if you see any of the Americans, like, don't cross them.
Well, thanks for the warning. Do we know which gang they're... Do we know which gang the Americans might have settled on?
Well, with any luck, with our gang, which I should probably find a name for. But yeah, if you see them, just keep your head down. Let them have the run of the streets. Don't. Yeah, we want the American money.
Don't we all?
I fully understand that.
Yeah. He's going to, before you leave, kind of slide a photograph across the table. They left this for us. We've been distributing it to the guys. And as you flip it over, it is a picture of Flisk, Blackmore, and 4 other faces that you do not recognize. Actually, you don't recognize Blackmore either. But there's the old team in a photograph, almost like they're at the dig site. The Americans want these people. There's supposed to be a couple more too, but this is what we've got. If you see them, yeah, give your buddy a call.
Absolutely. And I slide the picture into my pocket.
So as you make your exit, you probably can communicate rendezvous back and know that noon is the next appointment time frame. What would you all do as you kind of, unless you don't want to get back together, but as Jordan would, let me move your tokens
I think
over.
we do rendezvous, and kind of remembering that Meg had chastised me about speaking too freely, I pull her aside, show her the photo, kind of tap Flisk because he's the one I recognize. I'm like, this the guy.
Is this the guy? What?
Well, this is the guy that I saw. I'm looking for back in Baguio. Is this the guy that you and yours had trouble with?
Well, yeah. Trouble in the sense that he seemed real sketch. Took some treasure we all worked for, but whatever. And abandoned Gwen and I at the hospital and took off. Yes, that would be the guy.
Well,
Where'd you get
he may be
this?
from some local gangsters who apparently got it from the sound of it from some American spooks.
The ones you were
May-
talking to?
I assume they all know each other. Yes.
Interesting. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? That this is bigger, that this is...
Fair enough, but the point is, if the spooks are circulating this here, that means they're here, and so too might. And I tap the picture again, not knowing Flisk's name.
It's
So too
Flisk.
might Flisk.
So I name the ones that I know.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I think
that was...
I think we
This
had
was
all
the
their
original
names.
team. Yeah, this was the original team. So quite a few of them are dead, which is fun. Which bodes well,
I'm willing to bet those that aren't are not long for this world, considering. Well, got
By
both the
ex
gangs and the spooks looking for them.
by extension, that's us too, potentially. So I think high alert would be good. As if we weren't already, but
I think maybe moving on from Manila would be good. Were you able to get any information?
have an appointment at noon, and it sounds like maybe Grandpa's still around.
Okay, well,
So
and when you go to this appointment, I'd take one other in with you. I'll be across the street, and I kind of just rest my hand on my tanto that I use for.
excellent. Well, as always, Jordan, I don't want to leave you at my back, but I'm glad you have my back.
Well, trust me, if I ever kill you, we'll be facing each other, and you'll deserve it.
I know. Likewise. One of the few constants in this world that I can count on.
I just saw that meme.
GM, here's a question. If they're going in to meet with Grandpa, could I lend them my artifact? If I wanted to be so forthcoming as to reveal that what it does, could I lend it to them to see if there's any
You can, because that's not going to be something tied specifically to. It's an item, so yes, you could.
Okay. I'm not sure Jordan would come clean about the lodestone yet, but he's going to think about it.
Okay. So
and revisit this question before we go into to meet Grandpa.
Sure. So Meg and Jordan have been having this kind of discussion off more privately. Gwen and Samantha, that leaves you both together. Are you
probably were shopping to buy the gift for Grandpa and the family?
okay? So you want to kind of go out into town a little bit and kind of get some not only food for yourselves probably because there's a lot of fresh markets and some very good street food, but kind of find a gift or something to give to the elder. Okay.
Did we need to roll for that, or I really feel like just buying a gift really would.
Yeah,
Not
you need to
something
roll.
we need
You
to
need to
roll.
roll streetwise with a -3 because it's hard. No, you have to roll stealth, please, both of you.
Stealth.
Hmm.
Uh-oh.
Lovely. This is something I suck at.
It's okay. There's no big problem if you fail.
Of course not.
I maxed. Look at that.
Okay, and then
Impressive, unless maxing is a 1.
It's a 2.
And
I
then-
got, yeah.
sure, and then Gwen, if you can roll yours, and I'll add them together, and
Yeah.
we'll just see.
Sorry, I was
Oh, you're good. Just a stealth.
distracted and was thinking it was. Didn't think.
Because we are not the characters to be stealthy. We are just shopping.
As a group of 3, a group stealth of
2.
3, 2 plus 1
just-
for both of you, as you're kind
yeah,
of
the-
going together. You do pass by a couple Americans, which stand out amongst all the locals. They do not seem to notice you, but you kind of walk by them, and they seem to be kind of burly military types, but not in any kind of uniform, just kind of t-shirts and cargo shorts, buzz cuts and sunglasses, and just moving the other direction. You do notice them. They do not notice you. Surprisingly, a couple pretty young girls that are, yeah, you blend in without being seen, but you return back to the group with what you need and that information.
Did the military group look like they were headed towards the area we wanted to go to?
They were just kind of moving through the market as well. They could have been just doing local shopping, unless you want to like try to follow them or do
No.
more.
With them missing us, it didn't seem like they were on high guard. Just because 3 isn't an overly good. On our way back to meet up, can I roll perception to see if there's anyone following us?
Sure.
Perception.
Okay. It does not appear you are being followed.
Okay. I would inform them that there's a lot of military, more than there was when I was here previously. But that's probably something they already knew. It's probably, yeah. Probably encountered them more than I have.
Okay. So yeah.
Anyway, I have the fruit for our appointment.
So the time draws close as you kind of reconvene together. You want to just move on into the villa or the estate?
Sounds like just the 2 of them are going. So I guess we're outside,
Up to you guys.
right? You don't want too many people.
Any questions that need to be asked for this book that Meg is writing?
Yeah, anything specific that you want to make sure that I try to find out?
What is the premise of the book you're writing? I start taking notes on my
So serious, like taking it
On my
100% seriously.
on my doctor's pad.
Right. Okay. So I actually have, a PhD in Japanese history, so I can come up with something, plausible about guerrilla warfare, and stuff like that. Probably, I would think. So, what we're trying to find out is like how the local populace dealt with like Japanese incursions into the smaller villages. There we go. As opposed to like the big cities. So like these places where the Japanese were constructing their bunkers and all these kinds of things. What was the effect on the local, like smaller populations?
The only thing I have is if he mentions anything about ruins or rivers or waterfalls to kind of pry a little more information out of that.
Okay.
Try to get the triangulation for where that pyramid is.
Right.
Yes. Maybe an effect on the environment would also be a good. If they were doing tunneling, what maybe that might have affected the environment. I don't know.
I'm also curious about, and honestly, I am curious about this, if the local populations tried to push back at all, if there were any ways that they were using to get around and do any kind of sabotage or hide things.
I don't think that's likely with Grandpa being alive still. But that's a good question.
Would we know anything? Would we know anything about like the actual cargo cults and stuff?
About what happened when the
After
treasure
World War
got
II, on a lot of these little islands,
Mhm.
the natives they saw this technology, big metal birds bringing supplies from the sky, and it became like a religion. So
On the island where Manila is, though, it's like quite a bit bigger,
yeah,
not
wouldn't be
as
on the island where
remote.
Manila is, but if we're
Yeah,
talking about hopping to, I don't know if that's something our characters would know,
yeah.
but
Meg might,
I think it'd be probably
maybe.
unlikely something you'd encounter even over
Yeah,
in Luzon. Like
yeah.
it's maybe.
I don't know if it was
Well,
the Philippines specifically, but some of those Pacific islands had. It's been documented.
and I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, one of the main things that we're looking at is, we're going on information that this particular Japanese officer was in this location, right?
Hmm.
Yes, and
And so we're
Grandpa
trying to
was.
just figure out,
Did
hey,
I did I
you
give
were
the officer's
mentioned in
name?
his journal. You probably did.
If I did, then I don't know if I have it written down. I'm going through my notes pretty quick and I don't see it. So we can just give him a name.
Okay,
It might be a little bit of immersion breaking, but whatever.
that's fine. So yeah, I mean, I can definitely say, in the course of looking at primary sources from the area, I ran across this
I don't
particular officer's journal.
would
Yeah, I think just
Gwen, would you prefer being the assistant over me or
Hmm. I mean, I don't know if I speak the language.
oh, that might be a problem.
I mean, I'm a pretty good linguist, but that takes time to translate.
Okay.
I mean, if you don't want to go in, that's fine. I can do it.
Oh
It's
no,
not a
I was
problem.
just wondering if Gwen would like to go, but um I'm not sure. I'll go. It's okay.
Part of me would like to be there, but if 3 people is going to be too big of a crowd, I I should stay out.
I think 3 people is not super plausible for what I'm trying to pull off here.
I should stay outside.
and I've already decided I should stay on the outside and kind of be your eyes and ears. So
I think we all decided that in our heads, yes.
No, that's excellent.
So, are you gonna stay with the car?
Yeah, I'll stay with the car.
So,
I
what
think I'm
about
gonna be
Jordan?
like.
Are you out?
I think I'm not gonna be in the car. I'm gonna be like across the street or in the alley or somewhere where I can kind of keep eyes on.
Hmm. Okay.
You know, I might not even stay in one position. I may kind of, just kind of stroll around, try to keep eyes on any possible entrances and exits.
Hmm. So, as you approach, you're all in the vehicle, and probably Jordan kind of ducks out. But the street is on a residential road, and the housing is separated a decent amount for this area, so it's probably they're not unwealthy. They're decent compound that they own, but there isn't a fence. It's just kind of the road goes to a gravel driveway up, and there's a big circular ring with a big water fountain. There's a lot of greenery in it, trees and tended landscapes with garden areas, and you can see it's a single-story house, but it's pretty long, so it can clearly house multiple people. But you're able to drop Jordan off and then drive up to it, or do you want to park still out on the street?
I think let's park on the street just so it's not as obvious that Gwen is waiting in the car.
Okay.
Does our car stand out at all, or is it relatively just okay?
Eh,
Well, we did make sure that it was.
yeah, it's like an off-road Jeep. It's a vehicle in a city.
Okay.
So there's other vehicles parked up and down here and there. So it's not out
Right.
of
If someone's going to wait with the car kind of out in front of the building, then I am most likely going to circle around and keep eyes on the back.
Okay. I'll have you roll perception right now. And Gwen, if you're kind of on the front and he's in the back, you can also roll perception. Samantha and Meg, as you are going up this lane, it's a very nice property. And you can see kind of an older woman up on not at the doorstep, but kind of like on the porch, which is like covered with this awning. And she's just beating a rug, kind of getting it all dusted out and cleaned.
I have 100% changed into a dress,
Okay.
which probably freaks you out, Jordan.
Yeah, Meg looking very stylish. What about Samantha? What are you wearing?
I would just be wearing something that, locals would wear that is comfortable, easy to work with, maybe a little nicer than the average local, but still just probably
Kind-
something where I wouldn't stand out too much. Probably the reason I didn't stand out when the guards passed me.
Mm-hmm.
So not quite your Sunday best, but definitely
Stuff that you
sense.
can move around at the Red Cross building and get dirty if you need to, but also
Exactly.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
So Meg, you're probably looking a little bit more center of
I
attention
see
out
what
of
you
the
mean.
two.
Yeah.
It's not ostentatious. It's
Yeah.
just more to suit the role,
Yeah.
So, but it's a dress.
So the older lady greets you, kind of sees you coming up, and kind of like puts the broom down and waves and greets you. And she sees Samantha and then greets you in English. And she says, "Hello, welcome. You must be those young journalists."
Indeed, yes, we are the researchers. And it's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for allowing us to come to your home.
So yeah, she beckons you to come in, opens the door, introduces herself.
Does her English seem pretty fluent?
Strained, but yeah, fluent. She can understand and speak. It's just maybe not very speedily. But she motions in and says, "You're here to see my son Peter or my husband?"
Oh, I was very much hoping to talk to your husband, and actually you as well. Where did the two of you meet? Were you also in Name of the Village?
No, I met him when he moved here as a young man. But Cristiano, and she kind of calls for him, and then the older guy kind of comes out with a cane, and here he is. And Grandpa comes into the room. Cristiano. Yeah, you can see that there's like some other people too in the house, but they're not steering clear of you, letting you out of your space. It looks like there's some other younger
point, I would
people.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
At this point, I would give her the gift and say, "Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. It will be very informational for my superior's book that she is writing." And I hand over the gift to the person who doesn't have a name.
Grandma.
Grandma.
So they are very excited to have the gift, and begin going into conversation, asking you little questions here and there, where you're from, what this project is, and all this stuff. And as conversation progresses on the outside, Jordan, you are moving around to the back, kind of circling the property. You rolled 2. You find that the property is not really fenced that securely. If somebody wanted to breach the compound, essentially they could get in from any angle with just being able to climb over this or that. The fence is not like a dog could get through it pretty easily. It's not well guarded. You do not notice anything out of the ordinary, though. There's nobody that's hanging around, no suspiciously parked cars with tinted windows. You do not see any government spooks. For Gwen, in the front, you notice a couple young Filipino men wearing this kind of a tank top, wife beater style thing, and moving around quickly. They seem to be looking in vehicles, looking in over the fences at the houses up the street, and they're coming down in your direction. However,
good.
they're still fairly ways up the street, but they definitely look like riffraff.
I was going to look at some notes, but to make sure the pistol is easily accessible.
Okay. Now,
And can the car windows be rolled up?
yeah, you can roll the windows. I will ask, in your purse or bag, whatever you have your pistol and also a big hulking 357 Magnum that was Ronin's, I believe. I don't know if you ever did anything with that.
No, she still had that, but she intends to give it back to his family when they get back to the States. But at the moment, it could still come in handy.
Yeah, I think the rules, just so you know, you need to have a 3 strength to be able to wield that effectively. If you do not have it, you can shoot it still, but I believe it's a -2. That said,
okay.
it's the dirty hairy gun, only a 357, not a 44. It's pretty big and
It's only
yeah. So you do have that. But yeah, so you just kind of make sure the vehicle's locked, windows are up, and kind of hang tight.
And I can get to either gun relatively easily.
Okay. I will say that if you want to choose one right now, which one you want to have accessible, you can have that as already equipped and not have to draw a gun.
The big, huge gun probably looks more intimidating, right?
I mean, ultimately getting shot with anything sucks, but if you see this big 6-inch barrel, dirty, hairy gun, that's going to be like, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yeah,
I'm just reminded of the scene from Hellboy. I may be a lousy shot, but this gun has really big bullets.
Yes.
That's
exactly what I was thinking.
It's probably
one of my favorite movie lines of all time.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
So
he's probably wearing the revolver most of the time, but if he wants to scare these ruffians off, she's probably got the big dirty hairy gun.
okay. All right, so we'll say that is in your hand, able to be in your hand without the quick draw talent. It's already basically you've prepped yourself to have that ready to go. And then just swinging back one more time to Jordan, are you wanting to stay in the back once you've kind of seen the lay of this area and you've kind of seen this is kind of more there's another house on the back, so there's not really anything but an alleyway between. What would be Jordan's thinking? Stay here?
I'm going to find kind of a hiding spot where I can keep eyes on the back of the house.
Okay.
Then not fully draw my tanto, but loosen it in its sheath and my hand is on it. Basically, mechanically draw it enough that I can use it if necessary.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, you have it equipped.
Yeah.
Sure. So both of you are, as you say. Back inside, Meg and Samantha. So having provided kind of false names, and to Samantha's surprise, the ID matches that false name. But yeah, you begin your conversation, and What are you trying to push? Are you trying to push more the lie? They're asking you a lot of questions about your background before you even get into it. Like, how much are you lying versus being truthful, or are you trying to re-steer the conversation?
I think I'm not restirring just yet because I want to get them comfortable. And in terms of academic stuff, I'm not really lying.
Okay.
And what
So,
I'm kind of gambling on is, obviously they're not being the interwebs or anything. I can tell the truth about the degrees I have, what they're in,
mhm.
where I got them, some of the things I've studied and thought about, but just not give them my real name.
Okay.
So that by the time they would be able to or even think about trying, if they get suspicious or anything, we'll be long gone.
Sure.
That's my plan.
So you're going to roll an academics roll. I've
Okay.
just checked your sheet. You don't have bureaucracy or diplomacy, but Samantha does speak the same language. Do you have bureaucracy or diplomacy?
I have bureaucracy and I have diplomacy. I have a 5 in diplomacy and a 4 in bureaucracy.
So diplomacy is kind of more what I would be looking for anyway. So
Okay.
Meg, you can roll your academics with a bonus +2 for
Okay.
Samantha kind of chipping in when
Great.
needed at the appropriate times.
Only at the appropriate times, not more
Mhm.
than necessary.
You're definitely leaving the floor mostly to her.
Yes.
But yeah, they get comfortable with you, and without role playing through a whole sit down with grandma and grandpa,
Yeah.
they begin to warm up. Like you said, they're getting friendly, excited to help you with this project, and they actually are very nice people, and they bring out like a little lunch tray or one of their servants, or maybe it's a child or one of their child's spouses, you're not sure, but they bring out a tray with a whole bunch of fresh fruit, some nice ice waters and teas, whatever it is that you might want, and if you partake, it's very delicious fresh fruit, very yummy.
Some of it, the stuff we brought.
They'll probably, yeah, have that kind of as like the side with it. It's definitely more than what you brought. They're bringing out like a
Okay.
pretty nice lunch. Um, the conversation does move into your own field and territory, though. What kind of questions do you want to
Oh,
ask as you get into your interview?
okay.
Oh, Eric, do you have something, Eric?
No, I was talking to myself.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I'm definitely, doing the thing of asking broad questions first and then doing some follow-ups and
Hmm.
redirects. So at first it's kind of just this broad. So, what did it feel like back in that time? How did it feel to have, Japanese troops showing up into your world?
Hmm. So the story begins to unveil a little bit as he begins to recount the experiences 30 years ago, as when he was a younger man in Luzon, up here where in his village, and the Japanese had come to the island. He tells of how they were all drafted in his village, all the able-bodied workers, forcibly by the Japanese military, and basically put to work in making roads, digging ditches, uh, pouring concrete, and building these like different pieces, tunneling, digging into the mountain. He'd describe how even once his shift ended and they returned back to the village and went to bed for the night, they would hear explosions at night of charges being blown into the mountain as the Japanese kept tunneling and doing these different things. How there were very few people who were allowed to run away. Like if you ask, like, did they escape? Those who tried, if they succeeded, were fairly often not seen again. They disappeared into the jungles and maybe made a life somewhere in a different village, but he never came across anyone else. And often the Japanese would catch runaways and shoot them. So it was not a pleasant occupation. But he tells that story, and he tells how he was a hard worker, and in his effort to just kind of keep things okay for him and his family, he worked hard for the Japanese and wound up making friends with one of the captains. the captain being Captain Fujita, if I pronounced that correctly. So for that friendship, it kind of got him through a lot of the worst of the work. So he never had to work in the tunnels a whole bunch. He knew where the tunnels kind of were, and often was hauling materials from the bottom of the mountain up and stuff. So he was like a pack mule essentially. And then when it came time to where towards the end of the occupation, the captain Fujita, all of the crew that he was on was supposed to go into the tunnel. And it turned out that would have been for the last time. But the captain pulled some strings and sent him home. And he was spared because nobody in that final crew, they went into the mountain and were never seen again. A little bit after that, when the Japanese were out of Manila, or out of the Philippines, he eventually, not having a lot left in his hometown, he moved to the big city in hopes of trying to find better prospects, and he's been there since. Got married to the grandma character and has had kids. And then he goes on kind of a rant about his son, Peter, how he is a failure and is only obsessed with horse betting and gambling, and it's a blessing he's not gone mixed up with the gangs in town. And so he goes off on this kind of ramble. But you do get a lot of that kind of history.
Yeah. So I am very sympathetic. I make the clucking noises. Oh, your son, that must just be such a trial, especially to, someone who obviously cares so much about family and, So he brought up Fujita without us even having to say a thing.
Yeah, he goes into the story and just tells.
Yeah.
Would I have been able to, at any point, out of curiosity, ask why they were mining, and or where?
Yeah, I think that would be a follow-up question for sure. Like, did you have any idea what was happening in those tunnels? Because a lot of what was going on in the area were more the, like the bunkers and the anti-aircraft.
Yeah.
What are those called? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So as you get into the second line of questioning, we're going to pause and look out the window, so to speak, because I want, as the Gwen still in the front seat of the Jeep, windows up and kind of this gun on her lap under her book. You see the two thugs are kind of going brazenly down the center of the street. They are almost up to your vehicle and they kind of look at the car. Are you trying to be at all hidden, or are you just sitting there visible?
I'm not going to try hiding, but not going to try making obvious that I'm there.
Without any attempt to conceal yourself, they see you, and they begin to approach the vehicle. You can see that at their side, actually roll you already kind of rolled a perception. I think we'll just keep your 3 from earlier. You can see that one has a baseball bat and the other has, not drawn, but hanging on his belt is a machete. And they seem to be approaching the vehicle, and they start calling to you in the local language. You can roll a linguistics check, but you can tell by the body language they seem to be harassing and obnoxious and threatening. Okay, you don't know what the words are, but the body language you can get. They're basically like pointing at you in the car. One's like points the bat at you, and they're saying stuff.
Do I know? Do you speak English in Philippines?
With a 1, we'll say you know how to say English and where's the bathroom. Probably a couple other things, but maybe not the choice words she would opt to use. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not.
I would ask, do you speak English?
So do you roll down the window a little?
Just a little, yeah.
Okay. They probably don't. If you roll down the window a little bit, one of them comes up, the one with the bat, and kind of like points for you to keep rolling it down.
Oh, this has been so much easier if you spoke English. I pointed the huge gun out the crack of the window.
Okay.
and say, bat or gun?
Roll in not investigation. You're not going to investigate them. Roll intimidation with a +2. And then with the not commotion because they're not really being super loud. But Jordan, I will let you roll another perception check.
I should have used the inspiration point before I rolled.
If you wanted to roll with your dice, you can roll them an addition. How many were you going to spend?
I was thinking about you spending 2. I just forgot to say that
Sure.
ahead of time.
It's fine. I'll roll them for you. /R 1d2 greater than 2. Sorry, 2d2 greater than 2. And that brings for a total of 3 successes. So from the back, Jordan, are you here? I know it was cutting out earlier.
Yeah, I think it's all fixed now. I hear you all just fine.
Okay, you basically
Mine
just
cut out too.
It was mostly just the story that Grandpa was telling that I think you might have missed clips of. So, anyways, you don't hear gunshots and you don't hear any like words, but you hear all of a sudden these two kind of thugs shout so from the front of the house you hear kind of this panicked, and then the guy with the bat takes off, and then the other one with the machete is kind of backing up with his hands kind of up like this, like he was not expecting that. And with a 3, he runs towards the house, jumps over this little fence, disappears from Gwen's view, but he's now on the inside of the property.
Is he within range for me to do?
Probably Peter.
So for Jordan, I was going to have you roll a second perception. Did you already roll or no?
I can do that now. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you a +1 because you're already in sentry mode. But you're on the other side of the property, so there is some space between. But yeah, you hear with a 6, you even notice maybe them coming. So you go over. Colors. You peek around the corner just in time to catch. You even see Gwen's display with this big ass gun, and the guy's one running, the other jumping over the fence, and he's crawling. So he's staying underneath the half height fence, but he's crawling towards the house, and you're on the other side of the house, but you can see him plain as day. You, with a 6 perception, will say with such a great degree of success, you are hidden as well.
Nice.
I'm going to make my way, I'm going to stealth towards this guy, and you say this guy's carrying a machete, and it looks like he's already harassing a member of the team?
Yeah, he was harassing her. The machete's not drawn. It's in, I guess, a kind of a sheath. It's only a leather strap around the blade edge. So it's a chopping machete.
Generally, guys who carry machetes are probably dangerous guys. I'm just going to... Yeah, I'm not gonna bargain with this guy. I'm gonna get in close and spend some style points and use this ability that, So yeah.
Okay. So
if this guy's crawling over the fence, Jordan is moving into place, and then when he gets close enough, go Ides of March on him.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Meg and Samantha roll perception.
He only gets to use his passive defense, by the way.
Okay. How on this sheet? I don't think it automatically says. Is that just going to be body because no dexterity?
It's defense minus dexterity.
Okay, I'm going to re-roll this. How do I make sure its prompt is on?
Are you just straight up ventilating this guy?
I really hope I don't see anything, because that means they won't see anything.
So.
Yeah, I see this guy who's harassed a member of the group. He's got a machete. Yeah, I'm going Ides of March on him.
Okay.
At 2, Jordan.
Yeah, there's a kind of a bit of a commotion. So they're pausing to refill like your tea and stuff. It's like some lemonade or iced tea drink. And in the background, you see the one guy kind of like starting to get up from it and then just tackled over into the bushes by Jordan, and then you just
Is this like, so like the grandparents are facing us?
Yes,
and
like behind
and
them.
Samantha and I are sitting on a couch, and so we're just like
in the background you see like the gang member like crawling, kind of getting up, like he's about to start running, and then Jordan just wham into
Jordan
the bushes.
flying
so
out,
it's
buries a Tonto in his neck.
Yeah. There's
So
like
I just kind of put my hand on Samantha's arm and just kind of nonchalantly just kind of.
so okay. No, this whole thing has been quite funny to me, so I'm giving everybody an extra stat point.
The mental picture
Now
is amazing.
technically the guy is like
Can I
not dead. So
can I do anything like engaging in the conversation wise to keep them distracted?
yes, you can actually. Go ahead and roll another diplomacy check, or maybe this would be bureaucracy because you're trying to. No,
I can do either.
All right, your choice. And
Could be deception
And I would
because
be-
she's trying to.
Happy to toss a style point at you for that.
I
Alright,
will use
well,
some of my style points as well.
so either way, this is it's she has all the same for the roll. But I'm curious, Adam, why would you choose deception or con? Because you're trying
It's a
to.
bluff.
Keep them from looking
It's a
around,
bluff.
yeah,
You're doing the
for sure.
whole "don't turn around" thing because there's
I
someone.
can see that. Yeah.
Do you
So
want me to change it?
if you haven't, did you already roll or no?
No, not yet. I need
So-
to figure out what bonuses I have.
Okay.
first.
So I have
if
not
you want
cleared
me to
the
do
field.
that, because I'm going to be
Con?
better at con.
I have
Yeah.
a 4, but so I'll give you a
Okay,
+2
go ahead.
bonus, and I already spent
Keep in
2.
mind that
It doesn't matter. You can do it. I think it makes
Samantha or Meg, whoever does it, the other one can. If you also
Yeah.
have the skill, can provide a.
A synergy
Yeah,
assist
bonus?
bonus.
Yeah, assist bonus.
Right.
So I lost
You-
how many style points people use because I haven't been deleting them. So how many did y'all use for this?
I used 2.
Okay.
However, I also give a +2 if somebody else rolls it because I have 4.
Okay. And then Meg, were you using style or no?
I am. I put
What-
in 1.
Okay.
How much do you have, Meg?
For
For you.
con, I've got
Yeah.
3.
Okay, so why don't you roll it because I'm going to give you a +2 already.
Okay.
So that's going to
So-
be +5 to your die pool.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do before I even roll it, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Because they're talking about like back in the day or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just gonna lean forward and just say something like flattering, kind of laughing to the grandmother about, oh, I just bet he was such a catch back in the, so obvious that, young strapping man that moved to town, something like that, just kind of.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The grandpa, he really likes this. And you can see him glowing and lighting up and pouring you more tea than
Yes.
his wife. And in the background, you see kind of Jordan and the gang member like
First
pulling
thing,
up.
just
Jordan's
arms.
like this, and the guy takes his turn to draw his machete, and then it's Jordan's turn again.
Oh, jeez.
Jordan is going to spend his last couple style points. The guy's on his feet with a machete, correct?
Well, trying to get up. You're still you're still on him here, but yeah.
Okay. Okay, can I let him stand up before I narrate what I'm gonna do? Like, if he's taking his turn to draw his machete,
Yep.
like, I kind of want him standing for what I'm thinking.
Okay. Do you want me to roll his defense, or are you just gonna? Max?
You're gonna need to roll defense because as soon as this guy draws his machete, gets to his feet, Jordan just crane kicks him in the face.
Okay.
Mr. Miyagi.
All right. That KO.
Please hide him like behind a bush or something.
Amazing.
So
Yes, then Jordan's gonna, coup de grace with the Tonto because the crane kick did non-lethal and just knocked him out. And then hide the body.
so behind the grandparents, you see like the body go down behind the bush,
Charming
and then
old
just
couple.
and he disappears.
this adorable couple in their nice home in their beautiful patio.
So,
You
yeah.
know,
There's like a movie where this happens. Like, what is the movie where this happens?
Lost Treasure of Yamashita now.
I know there's like a movie where this happens, where it's like a glass door.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of movies like that. I think it happens in one of the Red movies.
Honestly, the first one I'm thinking of is Groot doing the little dance and everything while the. But I think you're right that one of the Red movies or something like that.
I think it. Yes, Red. Retired. Yeah, yeah. I think that was it.
I think that's in Red.
I think it was Red. Yeah.
So, I want to cut over to the car real quick because Gwen, after he scared the one guy went over, the other one went that way. What does she do after that point? Like, I kind of assumed you weren't going after him, but I should have asked.
To the lounge, puts the gun back on the armrest, and pulls out a book.
I love it. All right,
Turns on the radio for the background music
Gwen's just doing this.
in a language she doesn't understand.
Okay, I gotta ask, what 70s song is playing while Jordan is...
Oh my god!
Well, I've got a couple, but
Absolutely staying alive.
So what happens is in narrative, this is a movie, he would run away, and then Gwen would put the gun down and turn on the radio, and the music would be playing from the radio as Gwen is whistling, and then it goes into the whole.
It's the Carpenters. It's the Carpenters. Something by the Carpenters. What?
Then it shows the scene, like, from Meg and Samantha's perspective of Jordan just coming out of nowhere, stabbing this guy. The guy getting back up, covered in blood with the machete, and Jordan just crane kicking him.
Oh, this is too good, you guys. I already gave you an extra style point, but
Oh,
it
God.
makes me want to give you another. So,
man.
so this happening, and then probably Jordan like dragging the body across the lawn, like away. But inside.
Well, and the other thing too is that Samantha, you and I have no idea who this guy is that Jordan is fighting or why. So, like, our decision now is. Do we get the fuck out of Dodge?
No, we say nothing.
Or do we just keep trying to get information, right? Have we gotten enough here? Is the house being besieged? Meg's just very subtly feeling, for her thigh holster, making sure that her Beretta's there, and, okay, this is fine. This is all fine.
Samantha does not expect a whole bunch of people just to come down and kick down the door, because that is not something she is like, that's even in her mindset at all. Like, okay, that was really weird. It was probably just a random gang member. I don't expect like a whole bunch of motorcyclists to come in and start shooting at us. Like, that is never something I've ever experienced in my life, and
Can I roll a perception check to see if I see them through the window? Because if Jordan sees them, he will flash the OK sign once he
go ahead. Go ahead and roll perception. And honestly, this won't be that hard because it's like an open porch, outdoor porch area.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you see him unless you rolled a 0.
So if Jordan sees that they see all of this, he just flashes them the OK sign.
And Meg gives Jordan the correct, whatever. And then in Pig Latin, she turns to Samantha, because it is the 70s. She's going to give this a shot, and she knows that the couple at least speaks some English. She just I'm going to do it, but she turns to Samantha and she says, just keep smiling.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, you guys, this is gold.
Anyway.
I'm gonna give you all another style point. This is funny.
Oh man.
So
also, whoever typed "because I'm Batman" in the chat deserves a style.
That was amazing.
I did not catch that. Okay.
Yeah. I saw that and I started laughing, but my mic was up.
You guys are my tearing
that was really good.
Okay. This is
I know, I have to
best
keep,
episode. Okay. The grandparents are oblivious to this body being dragged across the lawn, the thumbs up, like just out of frame, and things just as if nothing happened. They begin to just keep on talking. And it takes Samantha and Meg a little bit of like control and focus to
Yes.
stay in it. But you are successful and able to. I should make you roll willpower, actually.
Oh, God.
Nah, I'm not gonna do that. But that would be funny.
We can help each other. We can help because we're very carefully not looking at each other, I think.
So
Other
I'm
than just
definitely
turning to you and going, just
smiling.
keep smiling, but then there's
Yeah.
like no eye contact, no, we're fine. This is all-
what is the next line of questioning you would like to
We
get?
didn't get the
So they got you the
answers.
history. What was the
Right.
next thing?
We didn't get the answers when. Okay, I feel like when the story was happening, we would have asked what we had asked before. Like,
Mhm.
did he know what was happening in the tunnel? What was the other question?
So
That's a good one
Like,
to start with.
where was it?
So I will have you roll investigation, and whoever has the highest. I'm assuming you both have it, at least 4 ranks, so you can have the synergy bonus of +2.
I have a 5.
I think yours is better than mine. Yeah,
What's yours?
I have a 2.
So
You have a 2?
if-
Okay, yeah, even with a bonus.
Okay.
I
Or
won't
wait,
get a
sorry,
bonus.
this is stupid. Am I looking at the first
Should
number?
be
Or am I
the-
looking at levels or rating?
it should be the biggest number on rating.
Okay,
It
6
should
then.
be the third,
Okay,
rating. That's
You
what I
roll it,
pushed
and you get a
to.
+2 bonus for
Yeah,
me.
I think Gwen, you've got the highest investigation
Yeah.
I think it
actually.
was 7. I just misread it last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yep. So go ahead and roll with your +2. Okay.
It's a 3.
So he can tell you that they were moving a lot of boxes, and once the roads were made, they actually had trucks going up, and they never brought anything that wasn't supplies and materials up during the day with them. All he had to do was like dig ditches, build roads, bring like lumber and metal and concrete and sand, stuff like that, all up there, but they never brought anything besides that except at night. Always at night, they would have trouble sleeping because the roar of the motors, the airplanes would be flying overhead all at night, and all the Japanese activity was kept super secret, and it was all done at night. And anybody who worked, that whenever they needed labor, those workers were the ones that never were allowed to go back to the villages. So
Okay.
he never was exposed to what it was, but that's as far as he knows.
So just kind of sort of piggybacking off of that, I'm gonna say, just, since they were bringing in all this like machinery, the planes and the trucks and all this excavation and everything that's going on, did that start messing up the landscape? Because, there are so many beautiful areas where you come from. I mean, I hope to get up there and see more, but I know that there are just like, I mean, they probably had to use something to help navigate with. So I'm just wondering if there are any natural features that they might have. I mean, because it's easy in Manila, you've got the runways and everything, but
The forest tends to overgrow very quickly here.
So out of character, the question you're asking him is basically was like where the mountain was. You're trying to pinpoint the mountain.
I'm trying to get some triangulation here. Yeah.
Like any waterfalls or any
Yeah.
ways that they used to navigate.
Yeah, because not much is left up there.
So he answers that the jungles, they made many roads. There was many bunkers installed. There was anti-aircraft stations built. There was tunnels dug into the mountain, mainly in Luzon, the main mountain of that jungle. There's nothing that was really defaced apart from just the fact that they built tunnels. And I think he gets a little like off track with what your question is, and you might need to kind of circle back
That's
around to it. Because there's
So
nothing,
the way that I will circle back around is I will get out a map. because we had talked about the fact that we had gotten maps. So I was like, okay, well, great. So we're here, and here's it. So can you show me exactly where you were located? Because, you know, as my assistant here says, things get overgrown so much, and
He points to his village on the map, which is just at the kind of base of where the mountain is, and then he begins to just draw his finger up and down to where these trails were. Some of them are the ones that have been reopened and re-cleared by the previous team, but he shows kind of these were the roads. This is where one of the sites I worked at. This is where some of the tunnels were, but yeah, there were more tunnels than just this spot. But this is the main area that I worked, and he kind of points at where Breach 6 was.
Okay. Okay.
Does he point out any waterfalls?
He does not point out any specific waterfalls. Are you asking him specifically about waterfalls, though?
Could I ask it in a way that seems natural?
If you want to do that out of character, I will make you roll for it.
Let me just think about it. What would I roll for it out of character?
It's going to be one of your +4 skills, bureaucracy or diplomacy or investigation. Investigation, actually, I would allow, so that would be your best skill.
I'll roll investigation.
Okay. You can add +2.
And
I rolled
can
it with 3
can I assist? Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4. Yeah, you ask it kind of like about significant water landmarks or anything, because if you're going to go into the jungle, like you need to try to figure out where things are, and you've already highlighted like 6 or so waterfalls in this area that Gwen was able to kind of like parse together with Samantha's map. So you already have these different waterfall landmarks noted, and he points to one of them. He says, this is probably the closest one. There was some people that were there. The Japanese were down there a bit, but I never went to that site. I was always working on the tunnels.
Hey, good job, good job. Okay, that's great. So
Would you like credit in the book that for your family that completely not on topic at all, but we're wanting to.
Yeah, or trying to close up.
Oh no,
basically,
that's absolutely gonna. That's
segue.
absolutely gonna.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you're wanting to try to wind down the conversation, is there any other information, or if you think about it for a minute, I'm going to cut over to the others, but think about if there's any other questions you want to try to get.
I don't have my notes from the previous session, otherwise there might be.
Samantha's tired. She's been driving all night.
That's true.
Jordan, outside, where do you put the body?
Well, I don't want to drag it too far because I don't want to, be strolling around the neighborhood carrying a body. If there's a hedge, maybe I could kind of drop it in.
You can find a place to like stash it on the property or nearby the property, but it's not going to be permanently hidden if you just do that. But if you don't care,
we'll get to it.
Really care?
Yeah.
I mean, the gangsters know where they sent this guy. They're gonna learn that someone scared him off with a giant gun. The easier it is to find, the less likely they start breaking into people's houses to get information.
Okay, so just kind of.
Did you say how these two were dressed?
They're like in tank tops and shorts and kind of very dressed down because of the climate, and they're very much local.
What if you just killed his son?
Oops. Here's the question. Ethnicity, do they look Filipino or
definitely Filipino?
What did you just ask, Gwen?
Yeah, they're definitely Filipino.
I said, what if we just killed their son?
I'm pretty sure that's what just happened.
Oh,
did nobody else get that?
I just now did. I just now started thinking about it.
If you're in character, kind of like that thought crosses your mind, there's a significant age gap between where their son probably would be in his late 40s at least. Probably mid to late 40s. These guys are in their 20s.
That gives Samantha a little bit of a peace of mind, actually.
So it could be unlikely that it's their son.
Well, there's this kid that just jumped over the fence. My first thought was like, is that a relative of theirs? Like,
Or if they were coming up to the strange car in the front, you know.
yeah, I didn't know that part though. I just see a person hop over
Right,
the fence, like,
Yeah.
like that's my first thought. Is like, is that their son? Oh no,
So
Jordan just stabbed their son.
well, it was more than once.
He
So
stabbed him, he crane kicked him, and then he stabbed him again.
so are you just kind of like
steady and
Yeah, my concern is if I hide the body too well, when the gangsters start sending their people looking for him, I don't want him needing to go in the house. Like, I want him to find the body.
Yep, there's ways you can achieve that. Like you can just kind of stow it underneath one of the bushes and it's gonna be found in the next day type thing.
Is there like a gardening shed or something?
Yeah, there's a property with like that's not a compound, but it's like an estate. They've got some land and stuff. So yeah, you could move it over to where it's inconspicuous.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it will
if
not.
there's some place
Daddy,
where it's
right here.
inconspicuous that they're not going to find it going out to get the mail,
Yeah.
but where when the gang comes looking
Hi.
for it, they'll
Oh,
find
over
it.
here,
That's
there's
kind of
one
what
more waving.
I'm
Oh,
going
you're-
for.
They're waving.
You're not muted,
I'm
but
waiting. My camera's not on.
It's okay.
so for that you're successful in doing that. You kind of like dust off your hands, job well done, and you kind of peek over, and it looks like they're starting to wrap up on the inside. Gwen, you're engaged in your book. It does not appear anything else on your street has
nothing
happened.
seems to be wrong anymore. So
Gwen
I'm
has
just gonna sit.
handled
I'm just gonna sit there in my pretty small bonnet and
Gwen has absolutely
She
taken
doesn't-
care of the problem.
As far as Gwen's concerned, she doesn't need anybody to protect. She could do that herself.
Yep.
Oblivious. But yeah, on the inside. So, was there anything else that you wished to try to glean from Cristiano?
I got distracted by a bunch of kids, so.
I think the only thing I would maybe have to ask is if any of the locals tried any sabotage, or were there ways through the forest that they took to get away, or were they being like watched too closely?
He knew of a friend who did try to get away. He was among those that were caught and they were shot. So there were some that were able to escape into the jungle and presumably to freedom, to other villages, maybe not so close to the mountain. But he was basically played good boy with the Japanese, and because he befriended the captain, that kind of ended up saving his life. So he's not aware of any of the other side of that was more aggressive. He does confirm that there were some of that, but he didn't take part. And he probably says that with some regret. Like you can see that there's kind of a little bit of, if I had maybe done different. But then he's got his family now, and it's life is life.
Yeah, and I say something about, my family and I understand what it is like to be living, in a situation where you just have to make some really hard choices if you want to survive. So,
When the Japanese came over, were there any symbols that they used in, well, not only just in the landscape and their mapping, that you recall?
and maybe anything that didn't necessarily look Japanese to your eyes.
Go ahead and roll another investigation with the +2. Because that is something that might trigger for him.
I'm going to toss, so +2, and then I'm going to toss 2 style points into that.
I will also toss 2, so it'll be a +6.
Okay, +6.
Hold on. Sorry about the microphone before.
You're fine.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I thought I was going to do it. That's fine.
Oh, you were
Okay.
gonna do it? I'll let you do it. You can do it.
Oh,
Wait, did we
you
already
have the higher
decide that I have the
investigation
higher?
too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Can I spend a style point to have her do it instead?
Huh. So you want to burn a style point to undo your bad roll? I don't
Yeah.
think I'm gonna say yes. I'm sorry.
Oh.
With a 2,
I'm distracted.
he does not catch he does not catch any memories from the markings that you asked about. He does kind of like glaze over as Meg adds in like strange landmarks, was it? Or
Mhm. Landmarks, or either landmarks or markings that he saw that didn't appear to be like Japanese lettering. So like
Mhm.
some kind of um, iconography or anything that.
He wasn't around really any writing stuff to where he would be able to tell if it was. I mean, you can tell if it's Japanese or not probably easily enough, but he wasn't really
Right.
around anything to where it stood out to him. But he does remember there was somebody who wasn't Japanese who was with them, and they were. He was with the captain, kind of like basically reporting for early morning work, and the captain was with this other person. They might have been German. They looked kind of European, um, but they weren't in any sort of uniform, and they had kind of stretched out some sort of blueprint, and it had a strange object on it. He doesn't really remember much about it. That's the only thing that kind of sparks with that memory. And then he kind of lifts up the iced tea pitcher, and underneath there's kind of like the napkin, turns it around, and he draws a pyramid on it. And he kind
I
of
was just gonna
slides
say
it over.
I'm gonna just draw a pyramid real quick, but he did it for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super interesting. Okay, I don't want to push that too hard if it seems like that's about all he remembers about it.
That seems to be the extent of his knowledge for that.
Okay.
You
So
say for that like there's another question we should be asking.
Oh, until something ends the meeting, you can
did
spend as
you
much time as you
did you
want.
did you possibly catch maybe the European man's name or kind of what it sounded like?
You know, this is a
No.
one-time passing by happenstance.
Oh, what age would you say? And was this close to the time that nobody came back from, like when your captain friend got you out of the village?
It was maybe a month before that, which in the timeline for how long they had been working on it was probably 75% done with what they were doing. And he says that if he was to guess, the guy was probably in his mid to late 30s, maybe older. That's kind of hard to say.
All those Europeans look the same.
They do. It's true.
Yeah. Blonde-eyed, blue hair, blue-haired, blue-eyed, blonde-haired. Yeah. But
It's an old German lady.
so
Golden eyes, blue hair. We're dealing with an character.
There you go. There you go. All right. So I'm going to lean forward and take his hands, take one of his hands in mine, and say thank you to both of them, and just say to him in particular in really fast Tagalog, because I'm kind of hoping that Samantha isn't going to be able to follow everything that I'm saying. And I say,
I will follow everything you're saying because I also speak.
okay, I'm just saying though, it's really fast. So I just appreciate you taking the time and telling us these wonderful stories and these sad stories. And I know that maybe it wasn't necessarily easy to talk to someone who is obviously, Japanese, given what you have been through. But I am Japanese American, and my family has, I wouldn't say the same amount of reason to hate the Japanese, but my family has a lot of reason to hate the Japanese. So I appreciate that you took the time to talk with us.
Yeah. He takes his hand, or your hand, and he just kind of like nods, and he's still smiling, and you almost kind of see a little bit of a tear in his eye. But he tells you that he learned a long time ago never to judge a person without knowing the person. So
I do, you're very wise.
with that, they all kind of rise. They give you hugs and stuff. They seem very attentive to you, and kind of a welcoming exit, if that makes sense, as they kind of usher you back out onto the porch, towards the front of the house, and you see the stretch of road lined with like probably palm trees, and there's the open driveway, and you can just see the back of the Jeep over there where Gwen's idling and just kind of hanging out, and you take your farewell.
And we take our farewell.
Now, I imagine, Jordan, you've probably made your way back around, kind of following along, because this conversation's probably at this point an hour or 90 minutes. It's like
Right.
stretched into.
I'd probably do a quick walk of the perimeter, make sure there's no other machete-wielding thugs that need to be taught a lesson. And then I go back to the car.
Your lessons are very tough.
Thorough.
Final.
Thorough.
Punitive.
Ventilating.
Redemptive.
So, yeah, you kind of, you're probably there before the others. Gwen, you probably see Jordan kind of appear here at the side of the door. You're in the driver's seat. So, Jordan, are you getting in the back or the passenger?
Probably the passenger seat.
Okay, so Gwen, you have your co-pilot, and then Meg and Samantha kind of come around the corner a couple moments later, and you enter the Jeep.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the car to drive away, and the last thing is, as the car's driving away, there's an image, and you see the car driving away, and someone's like, "What the F was that?"
Yes, I was going to say, I wait until we're about a block away, and then I just go, Jordan! What the fuck?
And Jordan explains the whole story, but I'm assuming that happens like off camera.
Yeah.
We just end
Yeah.
the episode on the what the fuck.
Final staff point to Meg. Now, I feel like that was actually a really fun episode, and I'm tempted to just kind of like end it. It's about 7:45.
That's a really good closing line.
So
It's a good.
So we shall.
Yeah,
The
if
curtains
that was
shall
an episode
close.
of TV, I would have definitely given it a 5-star. Like,
Oh, man.
So
Yeah.
I found some good intel, too.
What probably happens is that Megumi gets you all up to speed while I take a nap.
yeah, you're like crashing. You're probably I'm struggling there at the end.
Yeah, like
Actually, you
what
go.
the yeah.
Go ahead and roll willpower. I'm just curious because in game, like your character's been up like all night as you're shifting from the night shift to normal. You're tired, but you're not dying.
I think I'm used to it. Yeah, but I do take a nap because I'm done. I don't even go like what the.
So
I'm
It's going to get no
been
room,
stressful.
so we can probably just immediately head out if we have a location.
yeah, do you want to
Yeah, I
just book
feel
it?
like
Or?
we
Yeah.
do. Let's get out of here. And Meg is actually, I mean, there was the whole Jordan, what the fuck, but Meg is actually kind of quiet.
Oh, you don't give them an update on the story?
No, I do.
Oh,
I do,
okay.
but it's not my usual kind of,
Tipper.
in your face, sarcastic, whatever.
Mhm.
So next, the party is going to exfiltrate from Manila, get back onto the road. Probably the easiest way, since you know the roads, is going back to Baguio and then over to Luzon, or are you trying to find alternate means of transportation? Let me move this to the main page.
Well,
What does Google Maps say? I'm kidding.
I think
go.
faster is probably better in this situation.
yeah.
So the fastest way is going to find a charter plane and go back to the.
That's a little bit much.
We could probably find a charter plane in Manila. I assume they have an
Manila would be
airport.
the place to do that. Baguio it's a bigger town, but there's not a lot in the town, if that makes sense. Manila is going to be the
Gotta
place.
go. Then we've got to go through getting a vehicle when we get there. But I do like the fact that we are just that
we
helps
charter-
obscure our trail if we're just
Could
switching
we
from vehicle to vehicle.
could we charter a cargo plane? Something we could maybe drive this car in, so that when we get
Maybe.
there, we have the car.
Maybe.
I would rather get another car when we get there.
Okay.
Well,
Just
where? Sorry, go ahead.
I have one phone call I would like to make before we leave Manila.
Okay.
So, if this guy is involved with the pyramid, can I call back into Europe and see if there was any German in their 30s that was involved in our organization 30 years ago?
Yeah. So you want to find international caller place. You can do that in Manila. They have plenty of places that you can go to make long distance phone calls. And yeah, if you want to call on your resource to try to find out, you can absolutely do that. It will require a stealth check for interacting with the city.
Okay.
If you'd like. I mean, you've got lots of style points. You could probably ace this
Yeah,
no problem.
Stealth isn't great, but why not put all six of these in here if if this is what we're going to call it. So
Okay.
yeah, see if they know anything. If it sounds like anyone that from organization 30 years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that road existed back then. It was made in 2014, the one that we would want to take. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Wikipedia, Philippine Highway Network.
Your stealth is successful. Okay. 1 second. All right, so you are. Let me see if I have your resource listed. It's like it's no, what's the society called? Did we
I
ever?
don't know specifically named it, but basically the society that's looking for Atlantis and
Yeah.
the the place that Mr. X put the map for for her working for him.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you make contact. I'm not sure what the time zone difference would be, but you make contact. It's just opposite end of the day for them, so it's probably a little bit later in the evening. But they can definitely you can pull in a favor. They probably ask on how things are going. They know that you're on this expedition funding. They just received funding for the next 3 months of their expedition, so they're really excited about it. From an anonymous donor. And
I kind of asked him to keep quiet about that, to not mention this phone call to anyone else.
okay, yeah, they're a little like
That
okay,
the expedition is kind of made a dangerous turn, and it would be best if people didn't know where I was.
okay. So yeah, they can do that. What is it you are wanting to ask them?
Describing, repeating back the description of the best they said of this German foreign guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, does he match anyone from that would have interacted with or would have been involved with in research in the 30s or
Mm-hmm.
in the 30 years back? So it would be the 40s.
Yeah, it would have been yeah, between 1935 and 1940, somewhere in there, depending. So they kind of leave you on hold for a while they go try to figure out if they can find anybody matching that description. And in that time, you're just kind of there, and we'll just say it's like a phone booth, kind of looking around, and you do notice one of these American spooks, as Jordan's been calling them. One of these CIA operatives kind of going through, keeping an eye on things. He moves past your booth, and again, you've are not really. If he notices you, he doesn't pay attention to you for whatever reason, or like he kind of skips you. As maybe not. Maybe it's just the fact you're not Flisk. You don't know, but he's watching for something clearly, keeping an eye on things, and you're just kind of left there on hold for a while until the excited voice of your one of your good friends. Her name is Sarah, and she's part of also the Atlantean Society, for lack of a better description for it. And she says, "This is German, mid to late 30s, 1935. It's got to be Vanderhyde.
Vanderhaar.
Major Vanderhyde. He was part of the he's an SS officer in World War II until he worked for the Thule Society, which is a subsect of the Nazi regime, focused on the supernatural. But he was never caught or hanged after the war. But maybe it was Major Vanderhyde."
Could be very that could be very helpful. Whole details, but would tell her that this expedition was originally just to have encountered some symbols or
Yeah, it sounds like the connection is going choppy.
over. He's following up.
Hello, can you hear me?
I'm going to call back Ken and got a name for our German friend, and tell them about the Nazi.
So I have to pause because it cut out really bad for me. I think I think it was on my end. Everything froze. So the call probably gets cut short because I couldn't hear what you were telling her. But did you finish the call? Or
As much as she would just say, would tell her that this trip may have found some symbols, Atlantean symbols, but she would call back with more information when she could, and to really mention any strangers or where she was calling from.
Okay. Yeah, she'll do that for you, definitely, and she's excited to hear more and says if you find anything that you need us to look into with the records for like translating or comparing any of the pictographs or something like that, just let us know.
I don't know if I can get a hold of them well when I'm not in a major city, but okay. That could. I don't think they had fax machines or things like that back then. That would
be it'd be difficult to get them actually, but maybe through description. But yeah, you see an opportunity where the goon is kind of not paying attention to your specific booth. So as you kind of wrap up your call, you can take the opportunity to slip on by.
Yeah.
Do I notice the goon?
Were you all at the like in the car, or where did you drop off Gwen? Because she was going to make this call. Or
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Did we kind of like wait in the car, or did we leave?
Up to you all.
Here's maybe a retcon. If the hotel we got a room in, because we were gonna do that, right? Did we actually do that?
Nobody ever actually
Because
did.
we were looking at the phone book. stuff?
We
Okay,
we
never mind.
didn't when we were in Manila.
No,
Okay,
you just
And
want
then
to
we
never
went
visit
to
mind.
a
Luzon.
payphone.
Okay, never mind. I have no retcon.
We could have gotten a hotel in Luzon though.
In
And what I was going to say
Baguio.
is a hotel kind of big enough might, would have the ability to place international calls. So,
Yeah. Well, it could be
Alright.
that's where you
I was just
went. Is
wondering if I saw.
I'd just say yeah, you're probably not leaving Gwen all by herself to do this. You're all in the vicinity. You can roll perception.
Okay, because if I see the goon, I think you know
Is
how I
this
deal with
stabby time?
Does he look? All right, I'll roll perception and then I'll ask the question.
Sure.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Especially
Oh,
Spot
it's
City bag.
So maybe you went to a hotel to use the international phone. Maybe you're not staying there, but maybe that's like the location. But yeah, you do see a burly American guy, crew cut, buff looking. He works out, and with a 2 perception, you can't see one, but you can pretty much assume based off of what he's wearing, he probably has a concealed weapon, and he's specifically watching like where the international call like phone is, and just kind of hanging out, doing a lot of nothing but
Okay.
watching.
Okay, even Jordan is going to think twice before stabbing an American spook.
Okay.
Just as a rule, if I don't have to do that, it's generally not a good decision. So, yeah, even Jordan's going to think twice about stabbing an American spook.
Okay. So, yeah, you see him. You also notice that he doesn't seem to either care or pay attention to Gwen. So as she kind of slips away, it doesn't look like he's noticed. And when he does notice that she's gone, he doesn't seem to care. So it looks like she's made a clean exit. So,
All right, well.
so that completed, you can all kind of go back out to the Jeep. And the final question is, are you going to drive or do you want to try to find alternative means of transportation? And if so, Meg and Gwen would know that they're to get as close to the mountain by aircraft as you can. There's the runway by Blattmore and Flisk's camp. That's the real only runway, unless you find a float plane, in which case you know a great lake.
which, we've had great, like, with plane, with,
Have you told us
Horrible.
about
You
the
just
whole
raised a
being
death
shut
flag
down
right
thing?
there.
I'm saying everything's,
You're
this is,
Japanese. I feel like you should know what death flags
yeah,
are.
everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
All right.
So
I do like the idea of getting a seaplane and getting as close as possible.
Can we do that without backing from Mr. X though?
However, a float
I
plane
think Jordan and I can
will
manage
not
this.
give us
Don't worry about
access to a car.
it. That's a good point, but we may need to be sneaking through the jungle anyway. So if we can get super close, we don't need to go through the city at all.
Gwen and Megumi, which of you has a higher survival score?
I have 1 rank and decent wisdom. I have a 4.
Can I give somebody help? I have a 5.
No.
3.
Okay.
So Gwen, you can make a survival roll. Okay.
Mathematically, it would have been better to have Meg do it with a +2.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Did you want to do that?
It's fine. The roll has happened.
Two is enough. Gwen, you remember where that lake is, and the direction that you went. I'm going to draw on the map here. If this was the lake, this is the runway and base camp, basically. This is like where the mountain was. So to go here or here is about the same distance. probably. If you were to navigate through the jungle on foot, it would probably take about, that same day and maybe the nighttime to get back to, say, Breach
I
6.
don't really want to get anywhere near that base camp. I am more interested, I think,
We
maybe,
know where the
in the waterfall. Yeah.
Yep, the waterfall is up on the mountain, so.
Yeah.
Is the
Does
lake
anyone
gonna
have
be
piloting skill if we do get a plane?
No.
What, Gwen?
Is the river big enough that the plane could land on near the waterfall?
That would
No.
be probably not. It would take a master pilot to make something like that. The lake you could land on easily with a float plane. Any of the rivers are probably going to be not really feasible for that. So if you took the plane, you'd end up having to land there and hike it or acquire a vehicle. If you were to
Which,
drive,
if we're going to the waterfall, we're going to end up hiking it anyway, right?
Yeah. I'm willing to have Jordan figure out how to fly a plane. With the piloting skill.
Let's talk experience real quick, because that might come into play. So for this session, you get the participation point, the role-playing point, the success and wisdom point, I think, because you uncovered a lot. And danger, you did have
that
someone
was pretty
pull
dangerous.
So
Pulled a machete
Jordan
on
could
me and I
have
kicked him in
died.
the face.
Jordan could have died.
I was so nervous they were going to turn around.
I know, and then, the police were going to get called. And
Oh,
more
goodness.
gang members showing up.
So dangerous.
So everyone can add
man,
5
Well, keep in
experience.
mind, I took no damage at all. He
I
basically
know.
pulled out his machete and get crane kicked. I'm not sure how much danger I was actually in.
I don't know if it's so much physical danger as scope of the mission danger. Like
Yeah.
Grandpa seeing someone getting murdered, potentially his son,
their
as you.
backyard.
It's like,
Yeah, I was really nervous that it was his son. Like, I didn't say anything. Well, actually, no, I did say something. I said, when he was walking down the street towards the car, I was like, I wonder if that's Peter. But I don't
hear
think
you
it
say
was.
that.
I didn't hear that.
Did nobody hear me say that? Oh,
No.
okay.
Maybe you're
I
muted.
heard you, but Jordan
I
would have no
definitely-
way of knowing, so...
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't hear you.
Oh my gosh.
I definitely said, I wonder if that's Peter.
For
man.
for how I felt so under prepped for this session, I feel like you guys did a really good job, and it was like really fun.
We
I
didn't
never
roll
would have guessed
any
you were
ones this
underprepped.
time compared to last time.
That's true. We didn't.
Last time was just pitiful.
It's so
It
bad.
was so bad.
So yeah, 5 experience. So if there's something you want to spend, like say the pilot skill, if you want to unlock that option to not have to hire an NPC or something, that's
We have money for an NPC if we need one?
You and I just got off a successful job, so we might have
That's true.
some scratch.
That's true.
Gwen, Meg, and with the background Jordan, you all do have some good funds. The mission here, Mr. X paid like a pretty decent upfront stipend for like an onboarding bonus. So you guys have money, and then Samantha has money of her own through various means. And same for Jordan, you just got off a gig too. So if you all wanted to, hire that out.
We might want to hire a pilot just in case we need someone to stay with the plane.
Right. I'm just thinking of that time in Vienna when we had to wrestle the plane down together, Jordan. Remember that?
You guys have way too many adventures.
Or not enough.
And that's why I don't often go outside the Pacific Rim, because of the whole Vienna situation.
I know. You got so many scars, both physical and emotional, in Vienna.
So is the general feeling you want to try to get a float plane, land on the lake, and hike it?
I think so. Yes.
All right, well, we will see you next week, and this was an awesome session. Thank you all for playing, and end recording.